I'm here with my sister-in-law, Alexa, and she served a 2-year mission for our church in France. So she's just going to talk to us a little bit about it. So what was like just some things that were different from here?
Ooh, with France, first of all, I feel like the people are so relaxed. Like, when we would go talk to people in the streets, they'd be like, I'm busy, and we'd watch them go walk and sit on a bench, and they just do nothing. They have a really big appreciation for the small things. They take a lot of public transportation. We were always on metros, on buses. I don't think, no one really had a car unless they were like super rich, so that was really fun to be with the people all the time.
And so what were some of the best and like the worst foods that you had?
Okay. There is one thing called foie gras, which is basically fat from a duck. And it's really sad how they make it, so I won't go into details, but basically it's like the insides of the duck liver. And what you do is you have a piece of bread, and we would eat this during like Christmas time, so kind of around this time of year. You have a piece of bread, and then you have onion jam, and then you have a layer of this foie gras, which is like duck liver fat, and you would eat it, and it tasted like what dog food smells like. It was so bad. The first time I tried it, I thought I was gonna barf, but then I actually, during my mission and having been in France longer, I really loved it, and it's like something I crave now, which is really gross. It's like kind of a gross crave. But the best thing I had, I would have to say just their baguettes are just hands down so good. Like you can smell a pastry shop before you even see it. So good.
And you were telling us about some of the words that were like, that mean different things that are like, that we use here. So can you tell us about that?
There's two that come to mind. The first one is, we always, and we'll say like, oh, oui, oui. Like in English, we think that the French say oui twice, but they don't. Sometimes the different regions have a different way of saying yes. When I was on the coast, they would say bah oui, hein? Bah oui, hein? Yeah, it's kind of like, well, yeah, huh? Another thing was, we're always like, ooh la la. But in France, when they say ooh la la, it's oh la la, which means oh no, like a palm slap. So we're like ooh la la, like oh gosh. So they make fun of us for that.
Yeah. And then let's see, can you say something in us for? Can you say something in France, just like anything, so they can hear?
Totally. A little phrase that they say is petit à petit l'oiseau fait son nid, which means little by little the bird makes its nest, just like slow and steady wins the race. That's kind of our translation. Yeah.
Okay, anything else that like you have, like maybe what do the people like oh, you're talking about their school.
Yeah. They're so smart. I think the biggest thing that I noticed from their schooling, I didn't know a ton about it, but they knew their history like the back of their hand. Like they were so good at telling all of their kings and just like all of their rulers and when they were. It's incredible how much they know about their history, and I'm like, I don't even know like who our presidents are. So that's embarrassing, but they're extremely smart and really hard workers.
Yeah, nice. Anything else that?
Nothing that comes to mind. When they say goodbye, it's au revoir. So, au revoir.
Well, thanks for letting me interview you.
Of course, thanks so.
Okay, let's go make our macarons. Hey, so it's time to make our gingerbread macarons. So, these are very finicky desserts. They need to be perfect with every single thing you do. So it's important to measure out all of your ingredients beforehand. And get everything ready, because you don't want to be running out of powdered sugar or stuff like that. You need to make sure everything's ready before. So, you're going to need 100 grams of egg whites. And so just the white, not the yolk. And if you even get the smallest tiny bit of yolk in it, it won't work. So make sure if there's a little bit of yolk in it, you just have to restart. So that's why you should do each one separately, so you don't ruin all of them instead of one. And have them room temperature too. So, and it's good to have them aged for 1 day. I did not do that, but that will help. And then you're going to need 100 grams of white sugar, 105 grams of almond flour, and 105 grams of powdered sugar. and some brown food coloring. So with those things, it's really important, really important to weigh out your ingredients. So this is just my little kitchen scale, and so I just weigh out all my ingredients beforehand, which is super important thing to do. And for the food coloring, make sure it's gel, not liquid, because even a fourth a teaspoon of water could ruin your macarons. It has to be the perfect consistency. And then for the gingerbread buttercream, you're going to need 1 1/3 cups of confectioner's sugar or powdered sugar, 4 tablespoons of softened butter, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1.5 teaspoons of molasses, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1 or 2 tablespoons of milk if your buttercream is too thick. And then for the topping, this is optional, but I have some white chocolate chips and some sprinkles so we can decorate our macarons. So, and you're also going to need to prepare a large piping bag with just a circle tip. And get your KitchenAid ready, because KitchenAid is important for this part. And then sheets of parchment paper. And I can't really see it, but I actually have traced some circles on there so that I can get them a perfect shape. So yeah, it's time to start. Okay, it's also very important to sift your ingredients multiple times, okay? So you're going to get your almond flour and sift that. And same with your powdered sugar, not your buttercream powdered sugar though. So, and make sure everything is very dry. Everything has to be perfect to make these. So I have my sifter here. And I'm just going to sift until it's, sifted. And you're going to sift it lots of times too. You can sift it probably about 3 times. You can also put it in a food processor or blender if you don't have a sifter. Okay, so I have my little clumps in here that are too big to sift. So with these, you're just going to dump them in the garbage and then sift these again. And the reason why we're sifting these is because we don't want lumps in our macarons, because we want them to have a perfect smooth surface on top. Here is my finished sifting almond flour and powdered sugar, so very smooth. And so next we're going to get our white sugar in a bowl and our egg whites. Okay. Then bring it over to a pan of simmering water. And so it's like a double boiler. So if you have a double boiler, you can use that. But make sure the bottom of this isn't touching the water, because we don't want to cook the egg. So you're just going to do this. It'll take a few minutes, but we're melting the sugar with the egg whites. So if you think it might be done, you can lift it up and get some of it and feel it between your fingers. And if it's still grainy, you can still feel the grains of sugar, then it's not ready. So just keep mixing it the whole time so nothing cooks in it. We just want the sugar to melt. So it'll take a few minutes. Okay, so my bowl thingy is done cooking. I'll just set it right here. And so redo that. Okay, so my meringue or my egg mixture stuff is done cooking. So I'm going to transfer this to my stand mixer fitted with a whisk attachment. And next, let's see if I can get this out. I also wiped my bowl down with some vinegar to help it to be really clean, because if there's any oils on your bowl, that can ruin it. So then you're going to put it down and whisk it on low for about 30 seconds, and then you're just going to keep increasing the speed to medium, and then have it whisk on medium for 2 minutes, and then once the mixture is white and soft and fluffy, raise the speed to high for a few minutes until stiff peaks are formed. Okay, this is not stiff peaks. I just want to show you right here. This is not what we're looking for. It may look sort of stiff, but we want it to be super fluffy. I will have to show you one. Okay, so this is what a stiff peak should look like. As you can see, it's a stiff and it's a peak. It's kind of like a bird's beak, depending on how much you get on there. But so it should be glossy, shiny. Anyway, so I'm gonna get this off of my whisk, and then okay. So now it's time to add our almond flour and powdered sugar mixture. So I'm going to just smooth my mixture out first. Oh, so beautiful. Then you're going to add your sifted mixture. Some people like to add all of it. Some people add a little bit of it. I like to start adding just a little bit of it. And then you're going to fold it. So you're going to go around and then through. Around and then through. Around and then through. And then once this kind of mixes together, you're going to add the rest, and then you can add your food coloring to it. So you can do Evercolor. I'm going to do some brown. Okay, it's also very, very important to not overmix it. So you just want to mix it until there's something called the ribbon trick. So I haven't really done anything since the last time I videoed, but so once is incorporated, it's so important to not overmix, not undermix. So you're going to lift up the spatula and turn it, and if it makes an 8, successfully, I guess, without breaking, then stop right away. If you didn't add your food coloring by that time, then you just can't add any, or else you will actually ruin your macarons. So, yeah, so just make sure you're mixing it the perfect amount. Some people also count how many things they do, 80 or whatever, but I just do it until it seems perfect. Okay, another trick that you can do if you're not exactly sure if your macaron batter is done is get just a little teaspoon, just get a little bit of batter, and you can put it on your pan and see what it does. So if it spreads out, if it doesn't spread out a little bit, you just want to spread out a little bit. It doesn't, then you want to keep mixing a little bit more. So I think mine's almost done. I might need a little bit more mixing though. Okay, I think my batter's ready, so I'm going to stop and get my piping bag that has a round tip in it and just fill it up. Okay, so the scariest part for me is piping them. It always takes me a minute to get back into the groove. I actually thought it was recording, so I already did some. But yeah, so, and then once you're done piping them, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, I have my first tray done, and so once you've piped it, let's see, I have some extra. Once you pipe them all, we're going to tap it, just hold it 3 inches above your work surface. You can also go and I don't know if you can see, but all these air bubbles, or all these, little bubbles full of air, came up to the top. So that's what we want. We want all the air to get out of them. So I'm going to do this to the rest of my. Okay, I successfully piped my macarons, they turned out actually really good. This might, as of now, be the best ones that I've made. But we still have to bake them, which is kind of scary. But, so I've tapped my trays, I've popped the air bubbles. So now you actually have to let them rest for about 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how humid it is in the room. Because this is what makes, if you ever seen a macaron, they have little feet around them, which is hopefully what we're going to get. So when you let them rest, that's what helps, because the outside forms a shell, but the inside pops up. So I don't know. I hope they turn out good. So yeah, we're going to let them rest, and you should be able to brush your finger around them. And you shouldn't get anything around them, which I can already do a little bit, but they're still definitely not ready. So then you should preheat your oven to 250 degrees and then let them bake until you don't really want them to be like golden brown. I mean, you don't really want it to change color, but the feet should be up. So okay, it's time to make our buttercream. So in a mixer or hand mixer, I'm just going to get my softened butter, put it in a bowl, and cream that together for about 1 minute. Okay, my butter's creamed, so with my mixer off, I'm going to add all of my powdered sugar, and then on low speed, mix it. And then once they're incorporated, you're going to turn off and mix it for about 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so my butter and sugar is creamed together. So next you're going to add your spices, vanilla, and molasses. It's going to take a minute. And then, just mix that together. Okay, it smells so delicious, but it's a little too thick, so I'm just going to add a bit of milk, mix it together, and I never think the frosting's going to be enough, but I always end up having extra. So if for some reason it isn't, then depending on how much you're going to put in your macarons, then you can just whip up a little bit more. Okay, my icy frosting is done. Ooh, so pretty. Smells so good. I wish I could just eat all of that. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in a piping tip. I have my piping bag in a cup so that it makes it easier to fill up. And you can really just do whatever piping tip you want. You could just do a circle one. You could spoon it on if you wanted, but I decided to go, I'm not sure what the actual number of it is, but I went with a star one, sort of. Let me get this. Ooh. So that's the piping tip that I went with. So yeah. Okay, my macarons are done baking. I'm pretty happy with the way that they turned out. They have good feet. The feet are a little small, but they always shrink when they come out of the oven, which is normal. But, so they should come off easily off the tray. So, I don't know, see how I'll do it with this one. They just pop off super easily. So the next step is to match all of your macarons together. So, these two look like they're gonna fit perfectly. And then I just set these over here so I know that I'm gonna put those two macarons together. Okay, so I matched up all my macarons. So next I'm just going to pick one to frost. So you can use any piping tip you want. You can pipe it any way you want. But for this one, I'm just going to hold it straight. Oops. And on its own, it will this piping tip will kind of just make like a ruffle. So it's super, super pretty. And then you put it on top, and they're gorgeous. So the only thing we need to do now, do the rest of these, and then it's time to decorate them. Okay, the last step is to decorate our macarons. So they're all done. I did 2 different methods of piping them. So I did the ruffle, which is very pretty, and I also just did a classic swirl. So I just have some melted white chocolate in a bag. I didn't put it in a pipe bag because I don't want to use a giant pipe bag. And then I'm just going to do it, not on the whole macaron, but just kind of, ooh, super pretty. I just am going to kind of do it on some of it, if that makes any sense. Let's see. Just like this, so it's just on some bit. So it looks so pretty. Okay, so they're all drizzled with white chocolate. So the last step, this is totally optional, but I'm just gonna put a few sprinkles on them, just to make them look extra pretty. Just, not sticking very well. Oh, I should have done that right away. Well, they might not stick, so I might not actually be doing that. But if I would have done that before, I probably would have. So, yeah. Okay, my macarons are done. I'm actually very, very happy with the way that they turned out. Let's see if I can show you without making them fall. They're so gorgeous. So, they're gingerbread macarons. They're so pretty. I did some without the sprinkles and some with, so time to try it. They are so delicious. They're nice and crunchy on the outside and chewy on the inside, just like a macaron is supposed to be. The frosting is perfect. There's not too much of it, so it makes it too sweet, but there's enough to kind of break. Look at that. The macaron and the shells apart. So delicious. So good. So thanks so much for watching.